This video, I just want to share with you the different tools that are in your kit that you'll be using throughout the process of throwing on the wheel. So we've got the large cleanup sponge. This is what you'll clean off the wheel head with at the end of the hour. This smaller sponge you'll use for compressing the bottom of your project as you're working. So as you're working on a cylinder, for example, you'll use that sponge when you get to this section right here, step 5, compress the bottom. It's also something you can use on the outside of your project, but I would suggest not using it as much if it's dry. You want to get it really wet because you don't want to take off that smooth part of the clay, which is on the outside. When you use a sponge, it will tend to take away some of the smoothness of your project and leave kind of sponge marks. This is leather that we can use to kind of smooth your project. If you get it really wet, we'll use this on the top rim of your project to make it look really nice and be something that's smooth, especially if you're making something functional. Got a couple loop tools here. You can use these to create patterns and designs while your project is on the wheel, but a lot of times we use these after you've thrown it and we flipped it over and we're going to trim the bottom. So that's making the bottom look real nice. The metal rib tool is actually a really good one for kind of shaping as you throw. So you've pulled up the you've pulled up the walls and you're ready to start forming your project. You can use this in a good way to kind of form, but it also is great on getting kind of a scummy layer off the surface of your clay. So as you're throwing, sometimes you'll build up a lot of gunk on the outside of the project, and you can use this to scrape that right off as the wheel is spinning. Here's two modeling tools. One of them is the rib tool. I'll show you how to use that as you're shaping and trimming the bottom, even before you take it off the wheel for the first time. And then you've got this much sharper modeling tool, and this can be used for kind of further trimming on your project. Each of the kits is going to have a wire tool. This is how you take your project off after you've thrown. Some pointers on this one is that you want to add a lot of water onto the wheel head, so that way as you're pulling the wire underneath your project, you're bringing a layer of water underneath it, so it'll basically slide right off the wheel head. One last tool in your kit is the needle tool. This is a great tool to use just in this room. So we're not going to use this out in the other room at all. I just have one per kit, and they're really useful when you're working on the wheel. You use this to carve in designs as you're having the wheel spin, but the other thing that's very useful for is actually evening up an area of your project. So if you really have it uneven, you can slowly push this through your project and it will cut off the section that you don't want anymore.